residents of the City of Johannesburg, to my fellow councillors sitting here from the minority parties that are represented in council. And as we speak, they will introduce themselves as they make their remarks. My name is Cllr Colleen Makhubele. I'm the Chair of Chairs in the City of Johannesburg, and I also like to welcome the members of the media. We are grateful that you are here, and please accept our warm welcome. We know that as long as the minorities control the media, the majority will never know what is going on. So we are grateful that you accepted the invite of the minority parties of council to understand how we arrived here, where Councillor Vasco da Gama was ousted as the Speaker of Council last week, Wednesday. Ladies and gentlemen, what we are engaged in here is truly a war. This is a battle for cheap votes, for cheap black votes. This is a battle to protect the white supremacy by the DA. This is a battle to intimidate political parties by the DA in order to get the votes that they need to control the city, the resources of the city. But let me start by outlining the purpose of this media briefing and also what is my role going forward in the council. We called you here to talk to you around the ousting of Councillor Vasco da Gama. It was a motion that was sponsored by the PAC. They will speak in a moment. And we called you here to give you our side of the story as minority parties in response to what is bubbling right now in the media space, where our councillors are called betrayers, where we are made to be villains for voting with our conscience, for voting for the residents of the City of Johannesburg. I have been told by the DA, a letter was sent to me yesterday trying to stop this media briefing. It's a legal letter, and they have clearly articulated through their legal opinion why they believe I'm not the acting Speaker of Council. When Councillor Vasco da Gama was ousted as a Speaker, he called me to the podium. He said, now I will call the acting Speaker of Council and the Chair of Chairs, Cllr Colleen Makhubele, to take over the meeting and preside for the rest of the council meeting. I went up and I presided over that council meeting with no objection from any councillor. I further presided over the motion that was brought in by the Action SA, and that motion passed. So it means if I am not the acting Speaker of Council, all that happened when I presided should then be reversed, including the motion of the Action SA that was passed. Of course, this is their opinion. It's a legal opinion. It can be challenged because, as always, DA rules by intimidation, by bullying, through legal instruments and through legal opinions. And that's how this city has been run up until now. But as I start, I want to really say, as women, we have been silenced for too long. And we also have been silent for too long. And we will not be silenced by legal opinions and legal letters. Women have earned the right to have a voice in the running of this council and in the running of this nation. We have fought, besides men, we have fought in the streets campaigning to be councillors, and we have fought to be elected in the positions where we sit, myself as the Chair of Chairs, and other women here sitting in their positions as chairpersons. And for that reason, we will not allow the DA to dictate to us how we conduct ourselves and discharge of our duties when we are in council in the positions that we have been duly elected to operate in. I'm reminded of Mbeki, who was a stalwart of community activism, a member of the Congress of the People, a promoter of women development, truly a mother of a nation. I'm encouraged by her the mother of our former president, President Thabo Mbeki, and the widow of a political activist and Rivonia trialist, Mr. Govan Mbeki. She was well known for her endeavors to improve the residents and the quality of lives of our people. I believe that she didn't join COPE thinking it was a branch of the Democratic Alliance. She joined COPE to find expression for her passion and her talent and her calling to serve her residents and the community. And that is the reason why I joined COPE. And I have followed in her footsteps to serve the residents of the city of Johannesburg. There are words of wisdom which she spoke to her son, which I would like to reiterate now, and it will set a tone for what I will speak in the next 2 to 3 minutes. Her son, Thabo Mbeki, attributed much of his political success to the wisdom of his mother, Mbeki. But she disagreed with him, and she said these words, "I wouldn't call it wisdom. It's an attitude. It's an attitude of self-lust. He should never forget, he should forget about his ego and listen to the next man. That's what really he must do in order to be the president of the people. You forget about your own ego and listen to the next man." And that is what has failed to prevail in what we call the multi-party coalition. Coming to the motion, we are here today because of the bravery of the PAC in sponsoring the motion. A one-seat party, as we are called in council, advanced the motion, and to everyone's surprise, it passed. I salute our leader, Councillor Nkonko. He's here today. He will speak on that motion for bringing that historic motion to the city of Johannesburg. That motion has brought the arrogant giants, the so-called big parties, to their knees. That motion, for the past few days, has caused this city and the nation as a whole to come to a standstill. Tate Nkonko, you remind me of your leader, Mr. Philip Kosana, in 1960. After Tate Philip Kosana mobilized 30,000 people to march, he caught the attention of then the young Anton Rupert. Anton Rupert, as his style has always been running the country even in those days, he asked to meet with Mr. Philip Kosana. And after that meeting, there were historic remarks that he made. He said, "I was shocked that a young man without laces in his shoes could bring out such a multitude." And I think that rings true today. This city and the nation is shocked that a one-seat party could bring this nation, could bring big parties on their knees and everyone to a standstill. And as a result of that encounter, Anton Rupert told the government of the day to grant property rights to blacks and enable them to buy at a discount. And ladies and gentlemen, with that statement, I'm trying to tell you that the role of minority parties in this country has just been revived. The role of the minority parties in this city has just been restored. And we thank you, all the minority parties that are here, for supporting that motion. Not only you, we also thank the ANC and the EFF for choosing to do the right thing and support the motion. ANC and DA had the same opportunity when the motion was presented in our programming committee to support the motion with the facts that were put on the table, but they chose not to. So we sit here together as minority parties, having agreed to collaborate on this particular motion at this stage. Not for our own sake, but for the sake of the black child in the city of Johannesburg. The issue of a black child, the issue of a black woman, the issue of a black man in Orange Farm in Region G, in Cosmo City, in Ivory Park, in Alexander, in the far-flung areas of this city. They have nothing to do with political affiliation or the colors of the t-shirts that we wear. The fact that our communities are infested with poverty, rape, crime, gun violence, substance abuse, unemployment, poverty, It has nothing to do with the color of the t-shirts that we wear. It has to do with the oath of office that we have taken as councillors to serve the residents of this city. And we have decided as minority parties sitting here to suspend our political pettiness, to rise above our own political selfishness, to bury our own political resentment and superficial ethnicities, for once to focus on the residents of the City of Johannesburg, the 6 million residents that have no energy, that have no water, that have no roads, whose streets are dirty, whose children cannot go to school because they don't have money, they don't have work, who have been impacted by COVID, whose parents, some are orphaned, no one is looking after them. This is what we believe as minority parties sitting here, or a coalition should look like, should feel like, and should act like for the benefit of the residents. This is what Utata Nelson Mandela, when he ran the government of national unity, when he first took over as the first black president, he did. He pulled together every party, and there was power sharing in that government of national unity with 2 deputy presidents. IFP was part of that coalition, and they ran the country successfully because everybody felt they had a voice. Power was shared. Everybody could make decisions that benefited the nation, not just one party. Coming to the current multi-party coalition, truly there is no common vision, as you can see with what has manifested in the past few days. Apart from economic interdependence, it is now clear that there's very little that is holding the multi-party coalition together. We have witnessed in the past few days that the cookie has crumbled. The protection of white supremacy prevails. Small parties are told what to do, to fire their councillors who voted for the City of Johannesburg and for the residents. We have been intimidated by legal letters for doing what we are supposed to do, for being an acting Speaker of Council. I've been intimidated by legal letters to stop calling myself that. But let me tell you, DA is caught in a crisis. They are in a serious crisis of arrogance, being power hungry, and for a party that did not win election, it must be a very difficult place to be, because they know very well that they cannot govern by themselves. But due to their imbalance of power in this coalition, lack of accountability, concealing of information, neglecting our communities, informal settlement, stifling our black SMMEs and enterprises, failing to really advance real programs that are benefiting the municipality and our communities, we have come to this place today. You will all know that historically, the whites were politically and economically dominant. Of course, that era is over. Although now blacks are politically dominant, we are still not economically free and dominating. And white people are using that advantage to arrogantly engage in that maintenance and that retention of that supremacy and dominance. Now that they finished taking our land, the next thing is to take our cheap black votes through this coalition, using our party leaders to intimidate us councillors. We are being forced to vote like cows. If you don't vote with your conscience, you are kicked out of the party. There are some councillors that should have been here with us today. They've been suspended by their parties for voting on the right thing. They didn't violate any constitution. They didn't violate any law. They didn't violate even the constitution of their own party. All they did was to vote for what they believe will serve the residents of this city. But of course, that did not suit the DA. Now they must suffer for it. Now we hear that Action SA is also joining our party. We hear them in the media calling that the coalition agreement must be changed. The DA cannot have a speaker, a chief whip, and a mayor. And I'm asking myself, where were they when we were voting in council. They were part of the people that were swearing at us, intimidating us when we raised our hands in council. Why now, when the horse has bolted, you want to join the party?
Yeah.
You failed to protect the councillors that are facing disciplinary hearings. You were calling on our leaders, instructing them to discipline us. Why now, when you see that the minorities are united, we are taking over government, why now are you protecting your own economic interest as well? We've seen how the Action SA also works. They made noise in Tshwane. They identified a wrong. They clogged our media space for almost a week, calling on the mayor of Tshwane must resign, they're gonna put a vote of no confidence. But one call from the DA, they crumbled on their knees and they could not vote him out. We did what the white minority fears the most. We united and we decided we are going to vote either way, whatever the consequences are. So Action SA must not come and join the brigade when the horse is bolted. They should have come with us when we invited them. They cowered when the white spoke. There is a notion that I want to dispel as I draw to conclude, and it's creating a media sensation, that the ANC is coming through the back door, that the ANC is using the minority parties to come through the back door. I want to make this very loud and clear. The ANC is not going to come through the back door. The ANC will come through the front door exactly the same way that the DA came through the front door and Action SA came through the front door. Because if the attitudes of the DA does not change and if Action SA does not change, if the ANC puts a coalition on the table that meets the needs of our residents, the people that voted for us, instruct us to vote for that coalition, make no mistake, will not hesitate to make the cross where it will serve our people. So that notion of the ANC using any of us here must be dispelled. We will bring them through the front door if the attitude of this coalition is not going to change, if the power is not going to be balanced, if our people are going to remain in poverty, if our communities are not going to be served, if the mayor who has been elected 9 months ago has not even been to Region G, she has not been to Cosmos City, she has not been to Ivory Park, who's supposed to be there to serve the people. We need a government of this city that will serve our people. As I conclude with this saying, and I quote, I don't know who said it, but I'm quoting it, a people are what its women are. The woman is the conscience of her nation, as well as the measure of its values. The moral life of a nation is controlled by the women, and by the women we can measure the moral condition of the people. And I want to paraphrase that to any party. By the women, we can measure the moral condition of a party. And I'm saying that to the DA, by the behavior of your leader, we are measuring the moral condition of your party. I thank you.
Thank you so